Hello, everyone, and welcome to the sixth Easia Active live webinar. For your information, this webinar will be recorded as all the other one, and we will send you the recording and the slide deck on the follow-up email. As usual, if you have any question, please don't hesitate to write them in the chat box, and we will reply to you all your questions at the end of the presentation. This month of June has been pretty active for Easia Active. We have done a few webinars. So the first webinar was about our cycling tour in Vietnam and Cambodia. Then we have done the webinar about active and adventure travel in Myanmar, Laos, Cambodia, Vietnam, and today is the time of Thailand. Thailand is a well-known country. Everybody knows Thailand, and it's one of the world's all-time favorite holiday destination. But during this webinar, we're going to show you a different face of Thailand, more focusing in adventure and active travel. Thailand is not only a beach destination, as everybody knows. Thailand, if you come to Thailand with us, you can also find and see incredible destination and unknown places that are not still touched by a lot of travelers and explored by a lot of travelers, and also live meaningful experiences that allow you to get in contact with the nature, with the local people, but not only that are not all unique, but also have a positive impact in the local community. And during this webinar, we will show you all of that. So let's start. So as usual, this webinar is hosted by me. I am Matteo, the Easia Active Brand Manager. I'm leading the Easia Active team, designing and creating and operating all the active, adventure and sustainable programs in all our destination. But I've been living in Southeast Asia since 2016. Mainly, I was based in Cambodia, but thanks to my job, I was lucky to travel in all our destination, and the same in Thailand. But today, our special guest and the expert, it's Bram van de Bosch. Sorry for the pronunciation. It's our product manager in Thailand. So welcome, Bram.
Yes, thank you, Matteo. So my name is Bram van den Bosse. That's my name. I'm based in Chiang Mai office in Thailand, and I've been living in Thailand since 2008. Been based here, traveled a lot around the region, but always based in Thailand. And I would say that Chiang Mai is now become my second home, maybe even my first home. So I'm here for a while, and I'm responsible for the products and operations for northern Thailand and Thailand in general when it comes to active. So very excited to show you more about this beautiful destination.
So let's see. So let's have a look quickly at the agenda. So as usual, I'm going to give you a quick introduction about Easia Active and who we are. Then I'll leave the floor to Bram, that is going to share with all of us a lot of information about Thailand, such as when is the best time to travel, what are the best regions for active and adventure travel. But I think, I guess the most important and interesting part for you will be when we're going to share some of our samples itinerary that we could design in this beautiful country. Then we're going to share with you some Easia signature experiences that are exclusively created by and designed by our team. And finally, we have the Q&A session. So let's start. What is Easia Active? Easia Active is the dynamic B2B adventure DMC, part of the Easia Travel Group. We are an independent team within Easia that is specialized in adventure and sustainable travel. We have a sales team, operation team, and guides that have years of experience on operating and escorting adventure groups in our 5 destinations. At Easia Active, our vision is to make a concrete positive impact in the communities through travel. How, when we design a tour, we always try to include projects, activities that have concrete impact on the local community. And in this webinar, you will see later. Talking about the destination, we are based and we operate in 5 destinations in Southeast Asia. So we are in Myanmar, Thailand, Laos, Vietnam, and in Cambodia. As in these 5 destinations, we have 14 operational offices, and where our team is located. And as you can see, all the offices and the country are well connected. So this allows us to provide continuity on the services. And we have the same type of high quality services in all 5 destinations. So if you do a combining tour on Vietnam, Cambodia, Thailand, for example, our team, the services that we provide is exactly the same, and the team is constantly in contact between one office to another one. So this is really good for combining tours. As I say, we are part of the Easia Travel group, and this allows us to get some advantages, such as the sharing the logistics of the office, of all the equipment that we have in our offices also, but also allow us to have a very good contracting power. So we're able to provide to all of you very competitive rates, and also to be able to follow international standards. Also, I would like to, I'm pleased also to say that this is our 20 years anniversary. We have been operating adventure travel and leisure travel since 20 years in these 5 destinations, and we are here to stay. Now I'm going to give you other additional information about the Easia Active. As I say, we are an independent team, and we have a sales team specialized in adventure travel that speaks different languages. Mainly, we have people speaking in English, but also we have some sales teams speaking in French, German, and Italian. I would like to highlight the importance of our production team for Easia Active, because all our activities, module that we include on the programs are designed and controlled, inspected by us, by me sometimes in Cambodia, by Bram, Brice, Celia, and Matt. What does it mean? All the tours are controlled, such as the quality, risk assessment, everything related to cycling tour, hiking tour, or a kayaking tour. Talking about the quality, I would like to also to highlight this because it's really important for us, that it's helping us to control the quality of our equipment, of our suppliers, such as hotel, transportation, restaurant, but also it's helping us to create specific training for our guides, but also for our suppliers. Also, in this specific time where we are now, they're helping us to work on training for our guides and for our team, in order to welcome your traveler as soon as the border will be open. To conclude the introduction about the Easia Active, I would like to highlight our commitment towards sustainability. In previous years, we have done a lot of projects concerning sustainability. One of the projects that we have done is the refill project, that since this year we're able to offer this service in all our destinations, meaning that we can create tours where your travelers will not use any more plastic bottles. So we created a logistic within our countries and in our tours, where your travelers can refill their bottles within their van, hotel, restaurant, and wherever they are, and in our destination. Also, I would like to highlight the partnership with Travel Life and Child Safe. For Travel Life, I'm also sustainability coordinator, and I'm working in our destination to reduce our impact within our offices, but also outside of our offices for doing our tours. After saying that, I would like to share with you part of our Easia Active team in Thailand. This is Bram, our special guest today, but also we have Eva, our sales team leader, and also we have some sales executives such as Natawan and Nietzsche. There will be the people that will be main contact with all of you, and also some of our guides in Thailand. So our team is much bigger, but the slide we didn't have too much space on it. So now I leave the floor to Bram, that is going to give us a lot of information about Thailand and all our samples programs. Okay, just 1 second. I'm going to give you the screen.
Okay.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, so let me also share my screen very quickly.
Okay.
Okay, so if all is well, you should see my screen. And yeah,
Yeah,
so I would
perfect.
like to explain a bit more why Thailand for active travel. Because as Matteo already explained, Thailand is a very well-known destination and it is really a very classic destination in the minds of most people. But we are here today to highlight why it can be much more than that. So let's start first with just looking at where Thailand is. Matteo already talked about this a little bit. You can see that it's surrounded by other very beautiful destinations, Myanmar, Laos, Cambodia, in particular where we all have offices. So it's right in the middle and it's a real travel hub in Southeast Asia. There are very good international connections to Bangkok especially, but you also have in the north a very well-connected airport in Chiang Mai and also in the south in Phuket. So in terms of connections, it's already very accessible. But then when we look at multi-country tours, the connections between the countries are also quite easy and there are quite many options. So for example, the stars that you see appearing is all border crossings with Myanmar that you could easily combine Thailand and Myanmar. The same for Laos and Cambodia. So altogether, Thailand is very well connected and it really offers a wide range of possibilities. So that's just one of the things that makes Thailand quite special. Just to give a little overview of some examples of connections. So these are some major cities in the world. You can see they're all very well connected to Bangkok and flight times in general are quite reasonable and not too long. So again, very within reach for most people all over the world. Then, yeah, the seasonality is maybe one point that I would like to get into a little bit deeper. So we basically divide Thailand into 4 main regions when it comes to the climate, because Thailand is quite a big country. North to south, we're talking about roughly 2,000 kilometers. So the climate in the north is quite different from what it is in the south. But you can see that for the north and the center, the climates, they are very even and more or less the same. Then when you go towards the south, there's a distinction between the eastern side, which would be in the Gulf of Thailand. So the main destinations would be Koh Samui, Koh Phangan, Koh Tao, which you may have heard of. Also the eastern side really towards the Cambodian border, Koh Chang and so on. So that would be what we call the southeast. And then the southwest is the Andaman coast, so basically the whole west coast, where all the famous beach destinations, Phuket, Krabi, Koh Lanta, and so on, they are located on this west coast. So as you can see, for the north and the center, the cool season is from November until February. For the center, it's the same. And even though that there's a snow crystal on the chart, it doesn't mean that it snows or that it's freezing cold. It's just still very nice and warm, but it cools down a bit and temperatures are really, really nice and not too hot. Because then from March to May, it does get quite hot and humid, and this is what we call the hot season. Whereas then from June until October, it's basically the rainy season. Just one note on rainy season in Thailand is that it doesn't mean that it's gonna rain all day, morning till evening. It's usually just short, powerful bursts, thunderstorms, but before that and after that, there's still quite high chance of having nice blue skies and so on. So it shouldn't really um, scare you away from traveling in Thailand. There's still a lot of possibilities. Um, when we go to the south, you see that there is no real cool season. It's either hot or rainy season, and you can see the months mentioned. So for the eastern side, it will be the best period from February up until September, roughly, whereas for November until March, April, it will be the better period for the western side. So looking at Thailand as a whole, the high season in general will be November, December, January, and February. That's where the climate is best in most of the popular destinations. Um, so yeah, that's just a little overview that I think could be helpful to get a bit oriented of the weather. And it will, as you will see during the presentation, it may affect some itineraries. Some places may be closed or may be yeah, not accessible during certain times of year. So it is important to keep this in mind. So yeah, then if we look at some selling points, why Thailand for active travels, we already touched on some of these topics, but accessibility is one of the selling points for sure. It's very within reach for yeah, many people in the world. And also the infrastructure, I would say some of the best value for money that you can find in the region. Besides that, there is really the opportunity still to go off the beaten track and have some really remote experiences while at the same time also having access to cultural visits or just have a yeah, great relaxing time. Um, because the regions are so different, so we will jump into these regions right away, but there's very yeah, quite a big difference between the different regions. This offers a lot of variety when it comes to itineraries. We can very easily do like multi-sport combinations and so on. And yeah, as Matteo already said, there is still really a lot of opportunities to connect with locals, to immerse into local communities, really make a difference and have meaningful encounters. So all of this makes it just the perfect destination to combine relaxing with adventure, with beaches, with culture. It's just, yeah, it's a bit cliche, but Thailand has it all, really. So yeah, these pictures, they speak for themselves, I would say. So very colorful, a lot of variety from old temples to green nature, delicious food. So yeah, we'll have a closer look in all of these things during this presentation. But first, Matteo will just talk a little bit
Yeah.
more on why active travel is the way forward for the future.
Yeah, exactly. Like as Bram just say, why to come to Thailand, and one of the best way to visit Thailand, in our opinion, is through active travel. How through active travel and adventure travel with our itineraries, you can access to really off the beaten path destination that are not really popular and in common. You will see later on the itinerary that we designed, and we just to give you an idea. And through when you visit those places that are really difficult to access in some case and not really popular, you also have a positive impact on the local community, because those community, they don't receive a lot of travelers. And when we design the tour, we try to include always like local businesses. We do some workshop with the local people, and stopping in those places, we are able to spread the positive impact of the travel. And through active travel, we always try to create a kind of slow travel itinerary. What does it mean? We try to spend as much time as possible in a region or an area where travelers can really connect with the people and with the nature. For example, we'll see later a program that is only focused on the north of Thailand, where people can spend 10 days, 12 days in the north of Thailand, where they visit all the different ethnic tribes, different national park, and get to know more this region of Thailand. Also, yes, active travel is an eco-friendly way of traveling. Also, we will see later that we can travel in Thailand using also the train, for example, or the bicycle or hiking. And this one allow us to reduce our impact and our carbon footprint. And yes, another point, doing active travel when you visit a destination through this itinerary, you do some sport, cycling, hiking, kayaking, and doing some sport is also good for your body and for your mind. To conclude, for all of you, it's active and adventure travel is a real opportunity, business opportunity, because adventure travel has been a trend that has been growing since years, and in particularly now with this situation where we live, people are really looking more and more to holidays where they want to be more in contact with the nature, and they want to visit places that are not overcrowded by a lot of people. And this is what we do also at Easia Active. And now Bram is going to share with us all the regions that are the best for active travel.
Yes, so I already mentioned it briefly. So there's many different regions, and during this webinar, we will look at three main regions. So the first one that we will look into in more detail will be the north. Then we will also look at the center. Sorry, just get back to the north. So the north, what is special about it? Yeah, you have some really nice and interesting cities, which are Chiang Mai and Chiang Rai. So there is a lot of opportunity for cultural visits and really nice activities in the cities, but the north is mainly interesting when it comes to active travel because we have a lot of mountains, nature, which is obviously great for hiking, especially. And then in these mountains and in these remote areas, you also have a lot of local communities, ethnic minorities, and these make for very interesting immersive experiences. So that's northern Thailand. We will also have a bit shorter look, but still very interesting for everyone to know about, is the region around Bangkok. Even staying in the vicinity of Bangkok, there's still a lot of options there to just have a lot of nice activities that are a bit more active, to just have a bit more variety from the classic activities. So we will have a closer look at Bangkok, also Ayutthaya, one of the UNESCO World Heritage Sites of Thailand, and also Kanchanaburi, a very green province on the border with Myanmar. And then to conclude, we will look at the south and the island destinations. So the south is mainly known for beaches, but we will show you that there's really much more out there than just doing nothing in the hotel, enjoying the spa. So these three main topics we will cover with a couple of real examples that we will dive into right now. So the first one is communities and nature of northern Thailand. So as the name already suggests, most of this program is located, or we do in northern Thailand. But each of the programs that we will show, we consider them as standalone programs. They can be sold as they are and as we will present them. And that's why we always include Bangkok at the beginning, because Bangkok is unique in Thailand and maybe even unique in the world. So Thailand would not be Thailand without Bangkok. That's why we always use that as a starting point. That being said, what we will present are programs that are perfectly fine and can be sold as they are, but they are also 100% flexible and they can be adjusted as you like. So all of the experiences that you will see, if there's one that you particularly like and others that you don't like, everything can be modified and fine-tuned to the needs But the one that we will present now, on average, it would take about 11 days. It can be a bit more, it can be a bit less. Again, it's up to the needs. But of those 11 days, about 6 days will be active days where there are real activities being done. The physical rating will be 1 to 2, which means that it's very accessible for most people, and yeah, it's really no super intense activities going on. The accommodation are small hotels, village stays, and a lodge. And then the seasonality, if you want to do this exact program, it will only be possible from October to June, because some of the places that we will talk about, they are not really accessible during the rainy season. So just to show a bit more, yeah, the overview of what we will be doing in the north. So it's Chiang Mai, going up towards Chiangdao, then into some remote communities that we will visit. We pass by Chiang Rai, and we end up at the border with Laos, all the way in the north. So for each of the programs that we will look into, we will just divide it into some smaller chunks, and each of them get a dedicated slide. So for this first program, um, yeah, the first part is basically Bangkok and Chiang Mai. So two cities that are very famous and part of most of the classic itineraries, but we just want to highlight that in Bangkok and also in Chiang Mai, there is so much options out there to do other activities. So in Bangkok, when we talk about Bangkok, people think about temples and the Grand Palace and the river tours and so on, but you can really do some very different things. So as soon as you go behind the scenes in the small alleys, you can really dive into the local street food culture if you like, or you can hop onto a bicycle and yeah, go in those small streets, or you could go into the green areas of the city that are hidden right, yeah, right there in the city. So those are just a couple of things you could do. We would recommend to stay at least 2 nights in Bangkok. It could be even 3, depending on what you're looking for. And then we would move up to the north by night train, we would suggest, because it's a very convenient, cost-efficient way and also sustainable. So Bangkok to Chiang Mai by night train is a nice option to move up north. And then in Chiang Mai, again, it's quite a big city, so you can have cultural experiences. There's plenty of temples there. You can get more into the spiritual traditions by, for example, by offering alms to the monks in the morning. But what makes Chiang Mai special, in my opinion, is that right next to the city, if you drive for half an hour or an hour, you are right there out in nature, and a lot of nice experiences out in the nature await you. So you can do a lot of day trips just from Chiang Mai alone. But that's not what this program is about. The idea is that we really go into the more remote areas and really get to know like the culture and the ethnic diversity of the north. So after the cities, the idea is to go off the beaten track. And I would say this is really the highlight of this particular program. The highlight of our active Northern Thailand program is when we head out to a remote community. Actually, in this program, we propose to visit 2 different communities. The first one, we can stay overnight in the village. The second one, we visit just as a day trip. Both of them are equally interesting, but it's especially the first one that deserves a special mention because it is a project that we created from scratch. It's our own signature project, and it's quite special, and that's why we'll talk about it a bit more at the end of the webinar. But as you can see on the pictures, the surroundings are absolutely beautiful, and yeah, it's a place where you can go and meet the locals up close, spend time with them, do activities together, like, for example, roasting coffee and so on. And by doing all of this, you don't only get a great experience in exchange, you also really make a difference for the communities, because as I mentioned, they're really remote communities. Tourism is really in its yeah, in its infancy. It's just starting, and it brings yeah, well needed income to these remote villages, and we really worked very hard to do it in a sustainable and in an ethical way. So one village stay in a remote Akha community would be part of the itinerary. We have 2 days of hiking, the village stay, and then we move onwards to another community where again you will meet an ethnic minority, Lahu minority this time, and similar concept. Only difference is that you don't stay overnight, but you will meet the villagers, learn about their way of life. You will get to pick tea leaves, roast tea leaves, learn about how they yeah, just how their daily life goes on before moving on to the next part, which would then be Chiang Rai and the Golden Triangle. So this area, of course, is a bit more well known, I would say. It's one of the classic places that people visit, the Golden Triangle. But again, we really want to highlight that even there, as soon as you go a bit away out of the city, there's also a real nice experience waiting for you. So we would pass by Chiang Rai city and stay there for one night so that you can get the feel of the city and then see the main highlights like the White Temple, for example. But what we really suggest is going towards the real far north, the border with Laos, where you have Lanjia Lodge, a really nice eco lodge tucked away in the mountains, and to at least spend 1 or 2 nights there to just again relax, connect with nature, and just enjoy simple comfort. So it's not luxury at all, but it's really a moment to relax and to connect with nature. And even one night is already a nice experience, but if you stay longer, then you can actually do some nice day hikes from there as well. So yeah, all of this together makes for an itinerary of about 11 days in total. Again, it can be a bit longer, it can be a bit shorter, depending on what you're looking for. But all of this makes it yeah, really perfect for basically anyone who has a good basic level of fitness, anyone who likes to be active during their holiday, and for anyone who is looking for real meaningful interactions into communities, who want to really immerse in communities, it's also a very good choice. And like Matteo already mentioned, this one is really slow travel, so we spend a lot of time in the north to really understand this region, understand the culture, and so on. So I would say yeah, it's a really interesting program for a
Yeah.
very wide public.
Yeah, I would just like to add two things. One, that I was lucky to experience the part of this tour a couple of years ago, and it was great. The Aka immersion, the 2 day, 1 night experience in the village there was incredible. As Bram say, it's not only like a hiking tour in the mountain, but it's much more, where people will learn a lot about also how they produce the coffee. So while during the hiking on the first day and the second day, people will see how the community there they plant the coffee. They show that the process of the coffee beans, how it's dried and how it's roasted. So it's also from a learning experience. It's fantastic, and also you will learn a lot about the culture, the tradition of this community. And later, the day after, you will visit the other community that it's more about tea and other type of tradition. Also, this program it's perfect to combine with Laos. As Bram showed on the map, it's finished like right at the border, and after it's possible to combine with Laos with a cruise or with a border crossing. Yeah,
Yeah, that's a very good point that you raised, Matteo, the connection. So why do
with
we stop at
Laos.
that point? Like you said, you can cross into Laos, that's very easy, but you can also fly domestically because Chiang
Hmm.
Rai has a domestic airport, that's correct. And Chiang Rai and Chiang Mai, it's only 3 to 4 hours drive. So basically, from that endpoint, there's really many options if you want to
Hmm.
continue. So that's a very good point indeed. Um, so then on to the next module or program. So this one is a little bit shorter and it's based around Bangkok and its surroundings towards the west. So yeah, we call it soft adventure in Bangkok and surroundings. And basically the destinations that we will visit are Bangkok, Ayutthaya, Kanchanaburi, and that's basically it. Altogether, good for about 5 days of yeah, of traveling. And of those 5 days, there will be about 3 days of active activities. The physical rating for this one is level 1, which means it's accessible for everyone who is in good shape, basically in good fitness. And the accommodation here is yeah, small hotels and floating bungalows. So we'll have a closer look at that. And for this particular trip, yeah, there is no restrictions when it comes to seasonality. It's possible all year round. So yeah, to have a bit of a closer look at Bangkok, I already talked about it a bit. So there's really endless options. Of course, you have the highlights, the reclining Buddha, the boat trips, and so on, the Grand Palace. But the real adventure is also can be found in Bangkok and its surroundings. So cycling tours again is something to really look into. Again, you can go into the small back alleys of Chinatown by bike. That's a really fun option. Or you can go to the Green Lung of Bangkok, which is basically, yeah, you will not feel like you're in a huge city. It's really just a big green nature, yeah, natural reserve almost inside the city. You can also head out of the city and then get into these communities, learn about Thai cooking, get hands-on experience, tasting new things and so on, really have these local experiences. And another thing that we also wanted to highlight is, for example, Thai boxing. Many people hear about it, know about it, but never really think of maybe trying it out. But we would really recommend also, if you're really in for a workout during your travels, definitely also consider it, because it is the national sport of Thailand. It can be done in most of the big cities, Bangkok, Chiang Mai, and so on. And it makes for a really fun short activity that can easily be added to any stay in these places as well. So again, 2-3 nights in Bangkok is really easily filled with a lot of nice activities. But then you could, for example, move onwards to Ayutthaya. So Ayutthaya is about 70-80 kilometers north of Bangkok, so not very far away. And it is the ancient capital and designated as a UNESCO World Heritage Site. So it's a very beautiful place, a lot of culture and a lot of history there, and it definitely deserves a visit. But we would propose to visit it by bike rather than just doing it the classic way by minivan or by tuk-tuk or what. So yeah, so by doing it by bike, you just combine this cultural aspect with being a bit more active. And when you're on a bike, you're just a lot closer to the local life, and you have a lot more chance to have these nice local interactions when you pass local food stands and so on. The feeling will be a lot different. So this can be a relatively short stopover. About one night should be enough for most people. And then you can move on from there to Kanchanaburi. So Kanchanaburi is also a really famous classic highlight, because you have the famous bridge on the River Kwai you have there. A lot of famous World War II history, and that's why it's on many people's itinerary when we come to Thailand. But they forget about one of the main selling points of Kanchanaburi province, which is the absolutely beautiful nature. It is a super green province. There are a lot of waterfalls, there are a lot of rivers, and it really makes for a very exciting soft adventure destination. So at these waterfalls, you can do easy hikes, you can swim in the waterfalls, which is really fun. On the rivers, you can do some kayaking, or even easier, just jump in the water and float along. And what makes it even, yeah, more special is that there's some really nice accommodation options out there. So you can see on this picture, for example, so these are floating bungalows right in the middle of the nature. So if you stay there, you're basically in the middle of nowhere. There is no electricity, no hot water. So in terms of comfort, it's not a luxury at all, but the experience is really amazing because you need to go there by boat, and just traveling down the river to arrive at this place is already a very nice experience. And then at night when it gets dark, they'll bring you some oil lamps because that's the only way to have light on these floating jungle rafts. So all of this, yeah, really makes for a very nice green escape. And again, you can easily fill up 2 or even 3 nights in these beautiful surroundings. After that, you can return to Bangkok. You could even cross into Myanmar. Again, there's many options. And the good thing is with this program is because it is so short and it is so centrally located around Bangkok, it can easily be added before or after or even between other things that you may want to plan in Thailand. So it really easy to combine. So all of this, yeah, putting it together, what are the main selling points? Who is it good for? Yeah, anyone who wants to have this little soft adventure and nature touch into their itinerary, again, it can easily be added into most Thailand trips. It's also definitely fun for families or for groups of friends, just because it's so accessible and activities are not very challenging at all. And it is also very time efficient because during these 5 days, you will have seen so many different sites, so many different aspects of Thailand, the bustling capital, Bangkok, the ancient sites of Ayutthaya, and then the green nature of Kanchanaburi. So a lot of different things put into a very short amount of time. So that's the second shorter program that we want to discuss. And then on to the final one, which is based in the south, and it's an in-depth exploration of South Thailand. So yeah, when we think about South Thailand, we think about beaches, relaxing, doing nothing. And you can, again, don't get me wrong, you can definitely do that, but we really want to show some other ideas and how you can really do some very different things. So yeah, looking at the map, just to highlight some points of reference. So you have Phuket here, which should sound familiar to most people. You have Krabi here and Surat Thani. So all of these could be entrance points. Phuket has an airport, Krabi has an airport, Surat Thani also has one. There's also a train connection. So again, the possibilities are endless, and it really depends on what you need and what you are looking for. But for the sake of what we would like to propose in this program, you would arrive by night train from Bangkok into Surat Thani and then do this itinerary as we will look at it. This one also makes for about 11 days in total. Again, same as we already discussed, it can be more, it can be less. It all depends, but the number of active days will be about 5 days out of these 11 that you're doing some real activities. But the activities are usually, yeah, very accessible. So physical rating would also be 1. And then the accommodation for this program, there's some really nice and interesting things in there. There's small hotels, a village stay, tents, and more. So we will look into those in more detail. But again, if you want to do all the things that we will look at exactly as we will look at them, it's only possible from November until May, because this place here, the Surin Islands, they close down after May. So yeah. So let's have a look in a bit more detail. So again, as I already explained, we see the programs as standalone programs. So you would start in Bangkok for 1 or 2 days and nights, and then take the night train and travel towards Surat Thani. And this is where right away you jump into a very different experience, because you will go into a fishing community where you will also stay overnight. It's located in Kuraburi district. So it's a seaside fishing community, and it's very interesting place to visit because it's really off the beaten track. It's very remote, and you will spend time with the villagers. You will hear their stories, which can be quite tragic, to be honest, because the village was badly hit by the tsunami, and this still lives on until this day. But the villagers are extremely welcoming, and it's really fun to just join in the activities, learn about their way of life and so on. And like we mentioned already with the communities in the north, also here, it's not only about taking experiences away for you to have a good time, it's also you make a difference because you bring income to these remote communities. And yeah, by doing activities, by staying in the homestay, by having local meals, by eating with them, sharing time with them, you really make a difference in a positive way in the communities. So you would stay overnight for one night, and then from there you would travel onwards to Khao Sok. Khao Sok is a national park, and I would say it's also a more well-known place, especially during the past couple of years. Khao Sok gained quite a bit in popularity, and the good thing is that most people still only do it as a day trip from Phuket or from Khao Lak, which is a bit closer by. Again, we can also offer that if that is what you're looking for, but again, we want to highlight how we can do things differently. So for the sake of this program, we would recommend to stay in Khao Sok and the area for 3 nights. So by staying 3 nights, you will see that you can get a lot more out of this experience than just the people who do just a day trip. So on the first night, you will actually stay overnight in floating bungalows on the Chiulan Lake. It's an artificial lake, but it is absolutely stunning. Like the photos you see here, they don't do justice to the reality, but it's an absolutely beautiful place, and staying there overnight is one of the most breathtaking places in all of Thailand where you can stay. Again, if you go on a day trip, it's also very beautiful, but then when you stay overnight, you're still there when all the day visitors are leaving, and then waking up in the early morning, seeing the sunrise with the morning mist over the lake, with the animal sounds in the background. It's really quite magical. So that's the first night on the lake in Khao Sok. Then the second night will be in the jungle because, again, many people go to the lake, many people also go trekking in Khao Sok, but not many people really stay overnight in the jungle. And this is exactly what we would propose to do, is to really stay in the jungle and sleep in a hammock, sleeping hammock right there in the jungle. Same story, while everyone else is gone, you are still there, and it's just a very different experience from just doing a simple trekking into the nature. So two very unique ways of experiencing Khao Sok. And then the third night would be a more classic stay in a hotel, because the next day you need to continue to the next place, which would then be the Surin Islands. So if you remember the map that I showed, it's this spot that's a bit out there. So the Surin Islands, also, I would say, relatively well known as a day trip from Phuket, from Khao Lak. It's known as a snorkeling spot, a diving spot. Um, so if you do this program that we propose, you will also do these activities. You will go snorkeling and you will have, the same experiences. But instead of going back to the mainland, you would stay overnight in a tent on Surin Island. And again, same as with the floating bungalows, same as with the hammocks, it makes all the difference because when all the day tourists are gone, you are still there and you just get to experience these extremely beautiful beaches and surroundings in a very different way, in a very different atmosphere. So one night overnight in a tent in Surin, and then the final stop of this program would be in Krabi, because we consider this as the beach destination of choice when it comes to active travel. And we'll get into that in a bit more detail. So all of these experiences in the south really make for quite a interesting program. It's perfect for people who love the outdoors because as you saw, there's a lot of nature, sleeping overnight in these bungalows, in these hammocks. Yeah, it's not for everyone, but if you love the outdoors, for sure, it is really unique experience. If you want to do more than just only see beaches and you actually want to experience and have an impact, a positive impact on the communities and so on, it's also a nice option, this program. And yeah, in general, if you maybe already have been to the north, but you want to go have a look in the south, see what's there, and you like being active, this particular exploration of the south is really also a quite interesting itinerary. So just before I give the word back to Matteo, I just would like to look a little bit more at some beach destinations. Um, to be honest, we could do a whole webinar about beaches and beach destinations in Thailand, so we're not going to go too deep into this topic, and we will just focus on three specific destinations. So it will be Krabi, Phuket, and Koh Chang, just to highlight a bit which one could be good for whom. So the first one, as I already mentioned earlier, Krabi, we consider it as the prime beach destination for people who are really looking at active and active leisure activities. Why? Because it is really well connected domestically by flights, by road, so it's really easy to get there and to get away from there. But more importantly, it's the scenery. The scenery is really quite impressive. It's these karst mountains, very sharp, rocky crops that are just everywhere spread around. It's also a good option, for many different kinds of people because you have a lively town at Ao Nang Beach, but then you also can choose really remote and quiet beaches if that's more what you're looking for. So it has something for everyone. And especially, why we put it as the number one choice is because there's really a lot of day activities that can be done. Anyone who likes being active, you could go climbing, you could go kayaking, you could go hiking. So there's really plenty of options available as day trips from Krabi. Then, just a quick word about Phuket as well, because Phuket kind of has this difficult image. It's like mass tourism. It's the most famous island in Thailand, but that doesn't mean that it's a no-go zone. Definitely not. Phuket really has quite a lot of nice sides to it as well. Um, Definitely an advantage is that it's very, very well connected. There's many flights, even from the north all the way directly to Phuket and so on. It's the largest island, so there's really lots of things to do in terms of activities, but also for, budgets. You can go from low budgets to top luxury. There's a lot of interesting excursions that can be done. You could go hiking into the inland of the island, which is rarely explored by most of the visitors. You could go to some nearby islands and go cycling there. Also very nice experience and off the beaten track. And Phuket actually, this is quite unique for a beach destination. It has a real cultural heritage. So there is Phuket town, which makes for an interesting stop if you're interested in food, in culture. It's also an option in Phuket. And then finally would be Koh Chang, which is all the way to the east, all the way to the border with Cambodia. I would say for most people, it's a bit less known and less visited. Still, it is reachable by road, it is reachable by flight, but it is a little bit more remote, and that's why probably it's a bit less visited. But that doesn't mean that it doesn't that it's not interesting, because Koh Chang is actually, after Phuket, it's Thailand's second largest island. The inland is very mountainous, and it makes for a great destination for hikes, for day hikes. And also when we talk about island hopping and these crystal blue waters and so on, Most people, they think about the PP Islands and Koh Lanta and so on. But actually the eastern side also has some absolutely beautiful islands, Koh Koot, Koh Mak. It's really beautiful and a lot less on the radar of most people. So it's also something to definitely consider. Because this island atmosphere, it's difficult to describe, but it's really a bit more of an untouched feeling than most other areas when it comes to beach destinations. And yeah, finally, it is really right next on the border to Cambodia. So if you are looking to maybe doing a combination between Thailand, Cambodia, active itinerary, these islands should also definitely be considered as an option. So yeah, I will give the word back to Matteo here, and yeah, just look at some other things.
Exactly. So this is the time of the Easia signature experiences. Bram gave us a lot of information until now. He shared with us a lot of programs, a lot of really interesting activities and experiences. And this part, we would like to highlight some of our signature experiences and project more than experiences that we created. And in fact, I would like to highlight again the immersion in the aquaculture, as we explained you on the first program. This is not just a trekking module, or it's not just an experience, it's a project that I mean, Bram and the Thailand team, we created, if I'm not mistaken, 3 years ago, right? It was 2000, between 2016 2017.
Yeah.
It's a great project that we created in collaboration with this community located in this remote village. And it's, as I say, it's not just an hiking tour, it's an experience where people will get to know the community there. They will learn from it, how the coffee is produced, their history, their tradition. And it's a great model, because you could do it like, full day tour only, but also in a 2 day 1 night encounter. And if for people that are really looking for this type of experience and it's really slow travel, we can even extend it to 3 day 2 nights, where they really get to know more and more about the culture and the community there. So as I say, we people can also visit this project in a full day experience, because maybe some people, they're not feeling comfortable on sleeping in a homestay. So we design a tour where people can also go and have a nice experience during the day, and then come back to a nice hotel nearby. In my opinion, I suggest the experience today 1 night, because I had the chance, as I said before, to experience this two 2 years ago. Was in 2017, and it was impressive. I learned a lot during these 2 days, and the community there is really incredibly friendly. They're really looking for sharing their experience with you, to know you. They ask you questions, and I remember that one of the wonderful experience was sitting around the fire, and at the end of the night, and people like talking and listening their story, and it was impressive. Bram, if you can share some, maybe if you can add more about this project, because you were there and you also
Yes, I
spent
was
a lot
there a
of
lot.
time. Yeah.
Yes. First thing before I forget, because we talked about it, we have
Yeah.
a very beautiful video about this 2 day
Mm-hmm.
1 night module, which we will also definitely
Excellent.
share with you after the webinar. So definitely have a look at that. It will be a lot more clear and a lot more visual of how beautiful this activity really is. But yeah, Matteo is exactly right when he says that it's not a product, it's not a trekking, it's really a project. So it's not something that you can find online, you cannot book it anywhere. I'm not aware of any competitors that even do something that is remotely similar. So it was really a project where we approached a very remote community. Via we got this connection into the community, and when we went on spot, there was really no tourism, no infrastructure at all. So it was really even for me, after having lived in Southeast Asia for a very long time, it was really just being in that location, such beautiful surroundings and such friendly people. It was really a wow experience, and it was clear that there was potential for tourism there. The locals, they also wanted to get involved into tourism, and we really at that point said like, okay, we need to take this opportunity and make something good out of it instead of just sending people and make everything be spoiled by tourism. We really need to do it the proper way, and that's why we really spend a lot of time meeting with the community leaders, meeting with the authorities, because this place is located in a national park. So a lot of meetings were held. What do you want out of tourism? What do tourists want? How do we bring these two together? And so on. So yeah, a lot of time spent doing a lot of meetings and just finding the right solution. But the end product is something that me personally am very proud of on what we achieved.
Yeah.
So
So we can see also some picture later. Like we have two slides with some of
yeah,
the picture
sorry,
about this. So
yeah,
you
here's some
can see,
pictures.
yeah, we first do the trekking, the hiking. The first day is about 9 kilometers. We can also make it shorter for people that they don't want to do full day hike. So we have the possibility to do the 5 days. So for 5 kilometers, and then we have also a backup transfer to the top of the mountain. So as you can see from here, we have the stop in the jungle. Well, the local community, they cook using the traditional cuisine, and it's really delicious food. So they use the bamboo as a kind of where they put as a kind of pan where they cook the food. And also, yes, as we said before, you learn a lot about the coffee plantation, how there's the process of coffee, from the seeds to from the plant to the seeds to the roasted coffee. And you can also test, as you can see from the picture here on the bottom, you can test the coffee that they produce there. And the view is amazing. Also on the top of the mountain, you have a great view from sunset and from sunrise, at the like 20 minutes, no, even less from the village by
Yeah.
transfer.
Yeah, because you
Um,
mentioned that you prefer the 2 day, 1 night module. I would
yeah,
also completely agree, because if you're a bit lucky with the weather, just the sunrises and the sunsets alone are really worth
incredible.
going for the
Mhm.
overnight. Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, we can see also other picture later on the slide, but it's all about learning and connecting with the Haka and with the community there. Okay, another experience that I would like to highlight is this one is still in Chiang Mai, in the north. Is an intimate meal experience on an organic farm. It's more or less the same concept. We try to people here that will visit this farm that is outside of Chiang Mai. They will meet the family. They will learn a lot about how the people live in the countryside, what kind of vegetables they produce, what is the process of the vegetables. So they go and they see the farm around. And even in this case, it's not just an activity, it's more, because people, when they visit this family, they will also share the family that will benefit from it. Apart from visiting the farm, as you can see here, there is a lot of good food. People that will participate also on how to cook the food that they will eat, and the food is delicious. It's all food produced in the farm around. So and they can see also how they make. This is a kind of coconut, and a lot of good fruits, and it's a really nice location also where you can rest, um, and you can rest and enjoy the time
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, it's really not
It's
that far out of Chiang Mai city even,
mm,
and that's really, yeah, just going outside of the city. It's exactly what I mean. What makes Chiang Mai so
mhm,
special? You don't need to go far to end up in these green oases of peace.
yeah.
And yeah, this is a really nice experience, accessible for everyone, I would say, even for families and small groups. So the only
Yeah.
thing is that it's not for big groups. You can see on the bottom right picture the house. It is quite small, but for up to 10 people, it's a really nice experience,
Mhm.
definitely.
Then we are getting at the end of the webinar. So here I would like to highlight other Easia signature experiences. This slide include all the experiences designed by us focused on the food. So we have our own street food tour in Bangkok, where you visit Chinatown and walking around testing a lot of food. We have two street food tour in Chiang Mai. One is done by the e-tuk-tuk because it's for small groups. If I'm not mistaken, it's like 10 to 12 people, right, Bram?
Yeah.
About. And then if you have a bit larger group, we have the kind of local truck that is much better for a bit larger group. And you visit all the, you can taste and learn a lot about the food in Chiang Mai. We have some unique cooking class, not the mainstream cooking class. This one that we are showing here is in a location outside of Bangkok, in a nice house along the river, where people will learn about the Thai food that is amazing, to be honest. And also we have some additional, like this is a sundowner up in river. I think it's a nice experience also to do it. And after that, we have also some kind of more spiritual and workshop experience. Here we have, for example, the merit making ceremony. Here, maybe Bram, you can add more information about it.
Yeah, so merit making, giving alms to the monks, it's something that's practiced daily in all over Thailand, basically by Buddhist people. So in various places across the country, it's a really nice activity that you're very welcome to participate in. This particular picture, it's from Chiang Mai, but you could also do it in other places across Thailand. So yeah,
Yeah,
it's
and
also very
also
nice.
we have other workshop. For example, this one is making your own amulet in Sukhothai, where it's a nice experience where people that will visit the house of this man, this artisan, where they will learn the process of how to make an amulet. They will learn also a lot of information about Sukhothai, the history, the tradition, and the touch point that we at Easia we are the only one to do it is the lunch at its own house. So people they after doing the workshop they can still spend time with him, know him better, sharing, asking questions. So it's a really immersion on this place that it's incredible. Also the way that you can connect with the local people. And then we have this silk painting workshop, also a nice activity where people can visit this place that is from a famous designer of in the region, where people can participate and they make their own scarf. So as you can see from the picture, there is the team of the workshop that will teach them what to do and things like that. But then they will create their own scarf by themselves. And it's also a great experience because they can get the gift at the end of the workshop. So we are at the end of the webinar. Any question, please write them in the chat to answer to all your questions about it. Okay. So something that we often can we have different between languages? Wait, I'm back.
Aha, okay. Yeah, you were gone there for a minute.
Okay. Yes, I had a problem internet. So I was saying one of the questions that we receive often is the languages of the guides available in the north of Thailand. If you can share with us some information.
Yes, so in Thailand, all the programs that we looked at, I would say, even though they're quite accessible, they would be mostly for English-speaking guides, because it's a reality in Thailand that as soon as you go off the beaten track a bit, it becomes quite difficult to find good, experienced guides for different languages. So when we talk about German, Italian, Spanish, and so on, it is really quite difficult to find those guides, and that's why we cannot really guarantee those languages. For French, yeah, it would really depend case by case. If you would have yeah, requests, we can always discuss about it, but it is mainly with English speaking guides.
Yeah. So we have a question. How about the Aka immersion? So the project that we design, you and the team design in Thailand. How do you ensure the authenticity of the local community? So like bringing people, do you think that this will ruin the experience and the village there, or what are the guidelines and the process that you follow on developing this project in the last years?
Yeah. Yeah, so it's really, it's a very good question, because it's a fine line to walk, I would say, between
Mhm.
authenticity, development, tourism, and so on. But it's really a topic that we have discussed about quite a lot with the communities. And the thing is, they really want to move forward, and they really want to have tourism, but they are not aware of the bad things, that the bad sides that tourism can have. So how do we guarantee authenticity? We cannot guarantee it, to be honest. We are also not the owners of the community. They are completely autonomous in their decisions. The only thing that we really can do, as Matteo mentioned, we really are very active in terms of sustainability and you know, Travel Life, Child Safe, all of these projects that we also are involved in. So we do have all these input that we can give to the communities, and we can just only guide them as much as possible. But yeah, there are no
Also,
guarantees.
Also, one thing that I would like to highlight, every time we include this experience in a program, uh, we have limited capacity. So we never bring a lot of people there. We control the volume of the people that are going to this destination. So we try to create small groups, maximum 10 to 12 packs, in order to maintain the experience and all the in order so for the community not to receive a lot of people on the village, because we know that if you go to visit a village or in each community, to be honest, you cannot go with a larger group. So we try to control the experience by that, trying to send small amount of people in this region. And also, as Bram say, we follow precise guidelines, and this project was a long work. Was not something that we designed in one day. It took us a couple of years of inspection, meeting. Uh, so it was a project that was done in a really sustainable way, trying to keep the tradition also of the community. Because one point that we try to do is also to keep the tradition, the culture, because most of the people from this village are moving to Bangkok and Chiang Mai. So try to keep
Yeah.
them living in the village and keep the tradition of it. I hope we answered to the question. Um, in addition to that, for example, Bram, do you think for it's perfect for family? Uh, like for example, the tour in the north that we explained.
Um, yeah, I mean, for families, it all depends a bit, yeah, for personal situations. I would say every family is different, but I would say in general, the activities that are included are open for kids. Maybe if we are looking at the overnight in the village and so on, we need to really look a bit at you know, the minimum age. I would say we'd be looking at 8 years, 10 years old minimum, just for the physical part, because we do have a couple of hikes. We will be spending some time in the jungle and so on. So it's definitely not for young kids. Um, But yeah, I mean, again, everything is fully customizable, and if we have a family with young kids who want to have this experience or something close to it, we can maybe just go for the 1 day trip, which is a lot more accessible for kids, for example. So yeah, that's an option. But yeah.
Okay. We have another question. Are multi-country itinerary handled by one office? Or if so, when you have a request of multi-destination, you write to our email, sales@easiaactive.com, and then we design the total itinerary. So we have one sales in charge of the itinerary, and we will send it to you. Then when we are on spot in terms of operation, each country we have our operation team that will handle the group on spot, but you will communicate only with one sales team. Example, if the tour starts in Thailand, you will communicate with the team in Thailand. If you start in Myanmar, with the team in Myanmar. If you start in Indochina, such as Laos, Cambodia, or Vietnam, you are in contact with the Vietnam team, and then they will design the tour. Then, if the clients are not happy to sleep in the hammock, can hotel be provided as an alternative? I think this is referring to the
Yeah,
third
in Khao
program.
Sok, I
Yeah.
guess. Yeah. So for this one, again, this is really just something that we propose, but as we mentioned, it's really customizable 100%. So you could do everything from just a regular day trip and not sleeping at all in the park, but you could go also for only the floating bungalow or only a hotel or whatever you would like. So it's not mandatory to stay overnight in a hammock in the jungle. It's just to give an idea of how you can do some different things than what most people know are possible in Thailand.
Mhm. Okay, then we have one question. How far in advance is necessary to book the tour that includes the accommodation in Serene Island in the tent? Because maybe the tent, they're limited also the spot.
Yeah, just also to be clear about the tents on Surin, because yeah, Matteo and me, we also discussed about it a bit. So it's not your private tent that it's on the beach on Surin Island. You will not
It's a
privatize Surin
camping, yeah.
Island, just to be clear, because it's part of a national park and there is a headquarters nearby. And depending on how busy it is, there can be anywhere from 50 to maybe maximum 100 tents on the island. So it's not a private island, but still it is an extremely beautiful experience. That being said, I would say that up to a month before, there shouldn't be any problem to just confirm an overnight on Surin Island, because most
Yeah.
people who go there are actually Thai domestic tourists, and they tend to book very last minute. Right now on the Western markets, it's really not something that's super well known. So that's a good advantage that we still have.
So we have one question. So about is Easia actually operating like a tour operator or handling agent? Like as I mentioned, Easia Travel and Easia Active, both of us, we are strictly B2B. So we don't work with final travelers. All the tours that we show to you are just to give you an idea, and we work only B2B, not with the final clients. And we don't have our own agency that sells directly the tour. So this is our business model, and this is how we operate since 20 years now. Okay, if we can go maybe in the next slide
Yeah.
and try to close the webinar, because already, if you have any other question, you can write them in the chat, but I would like to show you the tools. If we go to the next slide, just to remind our tools, the media library, our website, and the agent hub, because for our partners, so as I say, we work only B2B, and for our partners that work with us, you have access to our media library and agent hub. In the media in our media library, we have a lot of pictures, video that can help you to promote the tours in our destinations. And on the Agent Hub, instead, we have a lot of information about the destination, the latest news, fact sheets, for example, for all the activities that you saw today within our Agent Hub. Here we have all the information about technical information, capacity, seasonality, and more and more. Then for Easia Active, we have our own website, so you can look at it, and we have our latest news with all the latest product, newsletter. And if you can go to the next slide, Bram, you can keep in touch with us by writing to the email sales@easiaactive.com if you have any question or any request about active and adventure travel in Southeast Asia, or you can get in contact directly with me. And I suggest you to subscribe to our newsletter, where you can get all the updates of our newer programs, projects, and also about our country during this time. And also we have our own Instagram account. Then we are at the end of the webinar. I think it was really great webinar. We got a lot of information about Thailand. Really nice programs. In particular, I love the programs in the north, to be honest. It was one of my greatest experience in Thailand 2 years ago, when I had the possibility to visit the Aka community. So I would like to thanks a lot Bram for his time, because now it's pretty late in Thailand. So I would like to thank you a lot for your time and for sharing to all of us a lot of information. And so for all the audience, we will keep in touch. And thanks a lot for your time also. And if you have any question, write to me or to our team at sales@easiaactive.com. Thank you.
Thanks
Bye,
a lot,
Bram.
everyone. It was a pleasure. And yeah, hopefully you've been inspired by it. So yeah, all the best, and hopefully welcome some of the clients in beautiful Thailand.
We look forward the border to open to